So, I didn't write any notes. Like I was about
Perfect.
to write down a bunch of notes, but like you said, you've wiped everything off the internet, so it's hard to even put a date on anything that I do got. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
You know what's funny? I cleared that shit off because I know my tattooing started getting kind of little too big, and my clients were getting a little more important, And I was like, man, they're gonna look this shit up, and they're just like, when you search my name, you'd find my band, and it's just me rolling around on the floor screaming in some like dirty club in the middle of like Cleveland, And it would be like that or like a fucking mugshot. I'm like, fuck, man. This doesn't, they're not going to give me money. Like, you know what I mean? They're not going to think I'm a real artist. They're going to think I'm just a dirtbag. And I was like, I got to pretend I'm not. Yeah. So I went through a while ago and I got off as much as I could.
but
Yeah.
how did you get into music?
Yeah, so just music in general. I don't exactly know why I wanted to play an instrument in the first place, but I remember in elementary school I was trying to join like this school band, but not for any of the traditional instruments that they play. I wanted to play guitar. And I remember my teacher laughed in my face. He was like, "The fuck, they don't play guitar in the school band?" And I was like, "I don't know, it just looks sick, it's like rock, I don't know." So ended up, that didn't happen. They don't have electric guitar in the elementary school band. But then it's weird. It's like I didn't really listen to music. Like whatever my parents just put on, I just listened to that when I was a kid. But then I remember I found my grandma's house. She had some weird, it was like a triangle. I don't know what the fuck it was. It was like a wooden triangle with a hole in it and it had strings over it. And it sounded like shit. It was like some old Eastern instrument. And I used to just mess around with it. And I thought it was super cool. And I had one of those like, fucking talk boy things, and I would just like record shitty sounds off it. And I thought I was super interested in it. But then, and then, I listened to a lot of rap actually. Like that's when I started listening to music as a kid, I was like, rap is fucking cool. Like we'd ride around. My friend had a little tricycle and we had a boombox cassette player with like DC batteries in it. We'd put rap cassette tapes in it, just ride around town. But then my friend one time he went to a store and he bought Vans, like a pair of Vans, the shoes, and it came with a Punkorama CD. And we were young kids. I don't remember. It was probably like 97, maybe around there, 96, 97, something like that.
So
and he gave me the yeah, that's when it was good. I know that. I think that was the last good era in my opinion. So he's like, "Oh, my shoes came with this fucking CD, bro. I don't know what it is. It's not rap, So he's like, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it, bro." And I put it in, and I think the first song on it was from the Descendants, and I just remember like, "Dude, this is fucking sick. What is this?" And like I was just like listening to it every day. I was like, "This is fucking cool." And then like immediately, I'm like trying to research the shit. I started finding out there's like local shows. I go to see local bands, and it was like that day I was like, that's what I'm doing. I was like, I'm gonna play this kind of fucking music, And I think the biggest thing that got me into it, so I started playing guitar when I was maybe 10, 11, something like that. I literally knew nothing, never had lessons. I just told my parents I want to play guitar. So they got me one. And then they couldn't afford it, so they took it back to the store. They were like, actually, it's too much fucking money. It was like a Squire. So they took it back, but then some dude that worked with my dad, he was like, "Oh, that's terrible." So then he gave me a guitar that he used to have when he was a kid. It was some Yamaha electric guitar. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I remember I just hitting the fucking E string. I'm like, fucking just fifth and sixth fret back and forth, just like, do, 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 do. And I was like, bro, I'm fucking good. I was like, dude, I'm killing it. I'm gonna be like a famous rock star. Like, I immediately just started recording random shit, and then I loved it. I was like, man, this is awesome. This is what I'm gonna do. And I love drawing. I always drew since I was a kid. So what I got most excited for, I'm gonna start this band, and I'm gonna draw an album cover. I'm gonna make T-shirts and it's cool shit. So I just wanted to start a band so I could draw a cool logo for the band. So I go to fucking school and I just start collecting people who don't play instruments. And I was like, bro, I know how to play. I'll teach you how to play so we can have a band. And I was just like forcing my friends to learn instruments they know nothing about and I knew nothing about. And we just started playing really shitty fucking music that sounded like fucking trash. And then eventually, you start, kids in school are like, that's fucking cool. I want to do that. And then you start eventually finding people who know what they're doing, and then I started learning. It took a long time. But yeah, it was kind of I think it was really came from a fucking Punkorama CD in a Vans shoebox. that ruined my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to say it was Punkorama 2, and it started with Coffee Mug.
Yeah, it was Coffee Mug. That was the fucking one. Yeah, I put that on. So the two things I thought were the best: Coffee Mug, and then the one that had that El Cucuy song from Voodoo Glow Skulls.
Yeah.
Those two fucking songs were like, I don't know, they hit in my head. I was like, this is way cooler than whatever shit's on the fucking radio.
Oh yeah, and it had TSOL on there, fucking Code Blue.
Yeah. There was some cool. There was a good fucking record. I just remember the mug. And he's like, immediately I'm like, what is this? This is cooler than rap. My dad actually came in my room one time and I was listening. I had that Descendants song on repeat. I thought it was so cool. My dad's like, oh, what is this fucking hip hop bullshit you're listening to? I'm like, no, I don't listen to that anymore, Dad. I was like, I'm a fucking punk now. Well, this isn't rap. I was so offended. And I actually even remember then when I started meeting people, because I used to do BMX. But then I was like, oh, I had to skateboard. All the punks skateboard. They don't do BMX because BMX is like everyone listening to rap did BMX. We thought that shit was cool. And I was like, oh, wait, I got to be a skater. And I remember trying to pretend to everyone that I didn't ride bikes. And then I also pretended to them that I never listened to rap. I was like hiding all the rap CDs in my house, all the cassette tapes. I was like, no, I'll just only listen to punk, dude, forever. I love this shit because that's when everyone was like, you're a poser. I was like, well, I can't be a poser, bro.
Yep. You heard that one song off the Guttermouth CD, and you're like, yeah.
I forgot about Guttermouth. Oh, those are fun times.
Yep, I was there once too. Yeah, I remember the 90s.
Yeah. And I see people now. Is it just people who like weren't born in the 90s, or maybe were born? I don't know. They didn't grow up in the 90s. Like romanticizing how great the 90s were. And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, it wasn't great because of the clothes or the music or whatever. It's because we didn't sit on our fucking phones all day. You know what I mean? I was like, there's no internet really. Like I didn't know anyone with a computer. No one had a fucking cell phone. I'm like, we were just outside. That's why it was awesome. Like the music was cool too. But I'm like, guys, if you weren't alive in that era and you just sit on your phone and listen to the music from my era, your life's not gonna get better. You know what I mean? I was like, you got to do what we were doing. You got to go to a fucking basement show and beat up your friends. Like, that's what we were doing.
Basement shows still happen. Right?
Oh, really? I have not seen one. And I always wonder if that still is a thing. Because I'm like, man, I've been out of it for so long.
I took my son to a basement show.
Oh, that's awesome. What did he think of it?
He thought it was cool. He thought awesome. It was cool. It was it was folk punk, but close enough.
That's awesome.
It was my boy Elliot's band, Doom Scroll.
Oh, okay. Dude, there was my kid, he's on a soccer team, and we went to they had this big soccer party at the one guy's house. And it's in this, pretty nice town. And we went down and they were like, yeah, we're having another party at this other guy's house. It's like the coach's friend. And I show up and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And I'm like talking to this guy. It's like this fucking beautiful mansion. Like they like redid the entire place. And I was like, and I asked him, I like said my one friend's last name. I was like, did so-and-so used to live here? And he's like, oh yeah, the architect guy. I'm like, yeah, his dad. And he was like, yeah, what? You know them? And I was like, dude, when we were kids, we used to like piss in the basement here and like destroy everything. Like they used to do basement shows at this house. And now it's like, they like, completely redid the whole house. It's like this beautiful mansion now. It's so nice. I'm like, bro, we used to hang out here every day and do basement shows and like destroy shit. Like some girl went to the hospital because someone smashed the TV in the middle of the pit and she got her leg cut open and shit, and they were breaking everything. It was gnarly. And I was like, wow, this is unreal just being here. It's like so nice and modern, and it's no longer a punk house. It was weird.
It's amazing what a slap of some fucking paint on the wall will do.
Yeah, because you look at them like, man, it did not look like this when I was here. It's crazy though. Just watching.
One day that I lost, the world's coming down, this city was shot. So new to make a living, keep a lifestyle like this prison. Every day was the day you wanna pull a ball in your head. Every day was the day you wanna pull a ball in your head.
Which band came first? The Canon Law or the Shakeups?
So actually, what's funny is Canon Law came first. It was actually my first like real band before we were like just fucking around. Everything sounding shit. So Canon Law started in, I think, when I was in 9th grade. So then in high school, we actually were like locally really like people loved us. You know, like we were playing shows with all these dudes who were in they were like in their 20s. You know, we thought they were like old men back then. You know, and they would always do shows with us, and they were like, bro, what the fuck? You were little kids. How the fuck does this sound this good? I was like, I don't know, bro. I just like listen to shit, try to emulate it. We're just trying to copy other bands to sound cool, you know? And I actually, this band went all through high school, and I ended up, I actually got kicked out of high school because I made flyers for a band. We did this basement show. And this basement show is where I met a lot of people that would like change a lot of shit in my life. So I don't know, like 9th grade, maybe 10th grade, I did a just like rager show in my friend's basement. I convinced his mom. I was like, bro, just let us have a show. We're going to have like some friends over, whatever. It turned out I convinced a whole bunch of bands from out of state to come out. I think there was 750 people in his basement. His mom came down when they first started showing up. She goes, what? There's going to be like 20 people here, right? I'm like, yeah, something like that. Like if you count 20 bands, I don't know, like, and actually, so the reason I got kicked out of school for it, when we were doing the show, my friend, he was a little apprehensive at first. He's like, bro, I don't know, man, who are you letting in my house? I was like, dude, it's gonna be sick, bro. Just let's have, our band play in the basement. So he catches me at the mall one night with these flyers, and the flyers are what I got kicked out of school for. So I'm passing out these flyers, and he was like, dude, are you just giving out flyers to random people from my fucking house? I'm like, yeah. Because it has my address on it. I'm like, yeah, how are they going to come see your band? I was like, bro, we're not going to be famous if we don't tell people. I was like, he was very upset, but this show was like fucking absolutely ridiculous. Actually is where I met, I don't know if you're familiar with Bill Cashman.
Yeah.
He's like, he was managing Leftover Crack at the time. So I was in like fucking 9th, 10th grade, and I met Bill Cashman at this show that we did in this fucking basement. And he was actually showing me like one of Leftover Crack's new albums before it even came out. Like he was like, hey, I was like with them recording. I think you guys are great. You should start doing shows. And, introduced me to a lot of people later on in life. But this actually, so that show we did in the basement, that like really propelled a lot of shit, at least locally. And then we kind of met a lot of people from other states who came out and other bands. So actually I kicked out of school for it because when I was making the flyers, my dad used to have so always a little artistic. My dad had a old Boy Scout manual, and it was showing a guy saving a kid. He's like running, taking his shirt off. It was like a sketch drawing, and he's throwing his shirt into the water and like, pulling him out of the water to save his life from drowning. And then it's showing the kids how to give CPR. And at the time there was that big thing was like, camp counselors and all these leaders were like, touching kids and stuff. So I was like, oh, punk's about politics and shit. I'll make a political statement. So I took the flyer and I cut it up. And I had the guy running, taking his shirt off, and then the kid was giving CPR over his crotch. So I like made that. It was like a political statement, like, hey, camp counselors are rapists, So I made that thinking it was cool. And then the flyer has like a knife on it, and it says, if you don't come see our band, we will murder your family. And I'm like, I'm in the school library copying like thousands of them for free. Because I'm like 7-Eleven was like 3 cents a copy. I'm like, I can't afford that. Fucking library. So I'm like making mass copies in the librarian, and she's like, what are you doing over here? And I was like, oh dude, come see I was like, I tell everybody. So I give her the flyer, and she's like, what is this? And I'm like, this is from my band. And she starts ripping the flyers away. I'm like, no, that's mine. What are you doing? These are from my thing. And she's like, I'm fighting with her, ripping them out of her fucking hand. She called the fucking police on me. Dude, they went in there, they had them in there. They said I was making terroristic threats. There's a whole bunch of ridiculous shit. Oh, then they told me it was this distribution of pornography because the dude was like running, taking his shirt off and shit. I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. We got a whole bunch of trouble for that shit. But then we had that band through high school, and then we ended up, as everyone does, everyone just starts fighting all the time. I got a girlfriend. I was like, I don't care about you guys anymore. You know, you could be making out over here. You know, like, don't give a shit. And then I started actually another band called She Cries, which was just like a straight grindcore band, which I actually have some really cool videos of that. I should send you. They're pretty fucking hilarious. Because we went to our first show that we did was for there's like a local school for literal like kids and young teens. And it's like a band camp where they teach you how to play music. And at the end of your, couple month lesson, you get to play a show at this local club down the street. And it was like a battle of the bands, but anyone can sign up. So our band, everyone's kind of a scumbag. We look disgusting. I mean, we're just like bad people. We're playing horrible fucking music. We were still in high school, and like our singer had fucking tattoos already. So we go into this thing that's just for like kids and teenagers. And we bring like a whole pile of people to come see our band. We're just on the stage screaming, breaking everything, yelling, and all these moms are like, "Oh my God, what the fuck is going on? This is horrible trash." And it was and then we won, and because we needed money to record, and the winner was supposed to get $5,000. We won, and they disqualified us because they were like, "You weren't invited. You're not welcome here." And I was like, "Bro, what?" And they're like, "This is for teenagers and little kids." I'm like, "We're teenagers," So yeah, but then that band ended up kind of breaking up, and then maybe like a year later, I just kind of gave up with music. I didn't really care about it. And then one of my friends, from years ago, he came around and he's like, "Hey man, we should start a new band." And then we started the Shake Up. And what's funny with the Shake Up is it started as something completely different with all like nobody in it was, in it later on. It was just like it was like everyone who was in it actually originally was in like, they were like in like the school band, and they were actual like real musicians who knew how to play music. But they were not on the level of like anarchy I was on when I was a kid. Like I was like, I want to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna drive around the world. I'm gonna fucking, I'm gonna live in my car. It's gonna be so cool. They were not down with that. So I booked when we had the She Cries thing. I think it was 15, and I booked a tour down the entire East Coast by like bullshitting club owners and sending them our demo, and they kind of thought we were bigger than we were because I had all these pictures. Like it wasn't like not really internet, I mean, there was, but like. I know there was like MySpace just came out, so I'm like, there was like nothing to prove that we were anybody except for I have pictures of us at this battle of the bands with, like 500 people crowded on the stage and like some demo CDs that were actually recorded really well. And so I booked a whole tour, but we didn't have a fucking car. We didn't even have driver's licenses. So we ended up canceling it. But then I tried doing the same shit when we started the Shake Up. Immediately, I was like, we need to go on tour. And these kids, they were just not into that idea. They were like, "Oh no, man, I'm like gonna, I got school. I have to like, I'm gonna go to college." And I was like, "Oh, you guys are trying to be real people." I was like, "No, we got to travel, man. We got to do shit." So I ended up kicking all of them out, and I like randomly found people by like just going to shows and handing out flyers, and then I'm like, "Oh, you're in a band, cool. What do you play?" And then I regrouped the band like 7 fucking times. It took a while, but. What's funny is like we did Canon Law as like a young kid, and then did the Shake Up, and then and there's a whole long story about that. It became a giant fucking mess. Quit, and then I started Canon Law again because I was like, I like the fucking name. It sounded cooler. I didn't really like the name, the Shake Up. I think one of the other dudes in the band came up with that name originally, like the first singer, and I didn't like it. But I just stuck with it because in my head I'm like, oh, I don't know, 10 people already know about us. We can't start over. We already we're already halfway to the top. But then when we broke up, then we started Canon Law again. And I actually used a lot of the songs I wrote when I was like 14 years old in Canon Law the second time. Cause I'm like, I don't know. I thought they were better. So yeah, it was a long process of going back and forth.
So like, what's the chronology? Like, I got two releases: the Drop the Bomb and Fuck New Jersey.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So Drop the Bombs for the Shakeup, that came out first. That was immediately after I first regrouped the band and I got rid of the first original band setup. Then I found all these new dudes. Yeah, that was recorded and that was crazy actually. I like that whole thing. I took all the CDs in my basement, I fucking spray painted them. I handmade stencils with like the track listing on it and then overlaid that and spray painted that on top of this. The whole CD looked like it was pressed, but it was all hand painted CDs. It was like really weird. Actually, I did that with another one of the Canon Law CDs, and it got stuck in my friend's car because it like probably melted because it's just like paint on top of it. And he was like, "Bro, your song has just been on repeat for like an entire year," and because it just won't stop playing, and he couldn't turn the volume back down.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was like, nice, lucky you. But yeah, so that came out first, and then we did the. Then after that, we regrouped the band again and did the Fuck New Jersey. So the Shakeup had like each album actually is a completely different setup. I'm the only person who stays in it. And we just like, yeah, because I took it very serious. I'm back then I was a bit of a hothead, and I took it very seriously. I was like, I'm doing this for this is what I want to do. I want to be a musician. I don't want to have a regular job, I took it so seriously, and no one else was as serious as me, and I'd get really pissed off because I'm like, why do you not get it? This is what we're doing, like. So then I had to kick everyone out. I'm like, all right, we got to start over. We need people who get the vision. Like, actually, we even had one time in Canon Law, the one dude in our band, our drummer at the time, he was very upset. He was like, bro, I don't understand this shit. He's like, you always write all the music. You don't let us do anything. You just direct everything. And I was like, well, I wanted to sound consistent. So I was like, well, you fucking write a song then. And he sits there and he goes, well, I don't know how to write a song. And I was like, what are you complaining about? And then he's like, well, you do this one song. Honestly, I don't know how to write stuff, but like this part sucks and I fucking hate it. And I was like, well, that's rude because that is the only part I didn't write actually. And then our keyboardist wrote that part. I thought it was cool. I was like, so now you're mocking the only thing I didn't actually write. It's like, so yeah, there was a lot of infighting all the time. But yeah, the Fuck New Jersey came out. That was second. I don't think we did anything after that. I think we did Fuck New Jersey, and then like immediately we did one tour with that CD, and then immediately broke up and started Canon Law. I think that was like the last thing we did was that one.
So when did Boogeyman Slam Dance come out?
So that was cool. That was originally recorded, I think, in 2007. And then we ended up not releasing it until like way later because everything was like fucking around. It was pretty much, maybe it was 08, 07, 08, something like that. We put it out around that era, 07, 08, something like that. And that one was fun. That one was actually done in my friend's basement. He was actually in the original Canon Law. So he was the one guitarist. So when I was trying to play music, I remember there was a point where I was so, like, as a young kid, I was so heavily into guitar, trying to learn. I just sat in my house for like months. I like just didn't leave. I was like, I gotta get better. I gotta get better. Started learning all this stuff. And then one day I was just sitting around. I'm like, man, what am I doing? I'm just sitting in my fucking room alone, just like playing guitar all day. And I just went out one day. No one could go out, but it was middle of summer. And I was like, I'm just going to go fucking skateboard by myself. And I was skating around this parking lot. And I ran into my friend Justin, who used to do BMX with me. And he's like, hey, man, we're hanging out with my boy Kelsey right here. He's cool as shit. Want to come to his house? I'm like, yeah, sure. Just like random shit. I met this dude, go to his house, and I see a guitar. And I was like, you play guitar, huh? And he was like, really? The dude was in a Slipknot. He didn't even like punk or anything. When I was like, yeah, I mean, I could work with this, So I started telling him, I'm trying to start a band, And then I taught Justin bass. He never played bass, but he went out and bought one the next day. And these are kids I just used to skate with, and bike with back in the day. So we started the whole Canon Law thing. And then, all these years later, the dude Kelsey, who I, randomly met that played guitar for the original Canon Law, he actually recorded the whole album, which is funny because we set up, and it was in the basement that we did that giant show at. He turned his whole basement to a recording studio. And it was like, yeah, it was just pretty cool. But I'm like, yeah, and he helped out with some parts too. And he actually even went on tour with us. No, he was supposed to go on tour with us one time. We had a whole thing set up. He did a few shows and then he quit. And then like before we went on tour with actually the Shakeup, because I hit him up because he plays drums now too. And we got in a big fight. We kicked him out. We went on tour without a fucking drummer. And it was actually wild. We went on tour with no fucking drummer, and we met. I don't know if you ever heard the band Evil Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave, the drummer, they're actually still doing shit, but I still talk to Dave. But he actually filled in and played a few shows with us on drums. On like we met them on tour, and he was like, "You don't have a drummer?" I was like, "Nah, bro, we kicked him out." He goes, "You went on tour with no drummer for like a fucking hardcore punk band?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he was like, fuck it, dude. He listened to like a few songs on MySpace and he was like, I'll just improv the rest. I'm like, dude, fuck it. But yeah, so the dude from Evil Empire, Dave, played drums with us for a couple shows on a tour in the Midwest. Like,
so what did you do with no drummer? You just played guitar and keyboard and shit? Like
yeah, it sounded bad.
Yeah, the stupid henchmen, they had an MP3 player that had a bunch of drum tracks on it.
That's a smarter idea.
Tobias that they just hook up to the PA.
That's good. Yeah, we weren't that smart or technical, So no, we just went. It was just me playing guitar, and like at the time, this was in the Shakeup. So at the time, everyone was quitting. Everyone fought. It was literally me playing guitar and screaming, and this dude Mike playing bass, and that was it. That was our whole band. It was just the two of us playing the exact same songs from like Fuck New Jersey and the Drop the Bomb shit, but like just no drums or second guitar, because it used to be a backing guitar. There was just nothing. It was just the two of us. It sounded like shit. But I was so determined. And what's funny is years later, if I wasn't as determined as I was, my tattoo career and art career wouldn't even be the same. Because years later, I ran into Dave from Evil Empire at a tattoo convention in Philly. And, I like walked up to him. I was like, no fucking way. Because I'm looking at the name. I'm like, there's no way. This has got to be the dude from Evil Empire. So I was like, yo, Dave. And he's like, hey, sorry, man. I'm busy. I can't tattoo you. And I was like, no, it's Kirk from Canon Law, the Shakeup. And he's like, dude, what the fuck? Dude, I'll tattoo you right now. I was like, no, I'm not trying to get tattooed. I'm just trying to say what's up. I tattoo. He's like, I didn't know you tattoo. I'm like, I didn't know you tattoo. Me and him ended up doing like a kind of like a tattoo tour. We, did all these conventions all over. And from those conventions, I met a whole bunch of guys that were like on TV tattooing and shit. And they were like really impressed with what I was doing because I was hand drawing everything. Again, like with the work I do, a lot of people use like the fucking iPad. It's all digital. I was just hand drawing it. And they were like, what the fuck? You draw that by hand? How do you do that? I'm like, what? How else do you draw? Like, I don't know. I'm like really bad with technology. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I'm like, fuck, really? I'm doing caveman shit. So, and it all goes back to, I'm like, dude, if we didn't do that tour, I wouldn't have met, Dave. He wouldn't have played drums with us. And then I wouldn't have done all these conventions with him and met these other guys. And it was like really long string of events. Cause I used to think back, I'm like, damn, I probably should just focus on art way more and not wasting my whole life being in a punk band. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, that's a lot of fucking time to just go nowhere. I think it's like at the end of it, I was like, man, we just lost a lot of money. And that was pretty much all that happened. But when I look back, I'm like, man, everything happens for a reason. Because if I didn't do that, wouldn't have met Dave and, wouldn't be here.
Word. So that explains that era a little bit.
You
also had you said that was around 2008.
Yeah, I think around there.
Well, there was kind of a gap because in 2012 or 2013, 2014, Facebook shit became active.
Yep.
And you just kind of left everyone hanging.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually it was so me and my friend Justin, there's a few people who tried it. We tried kind of restarting it, but making it not so like, punk and whatever. Cause there was a little bit like with tattooing, there there's a lot of shit going on when I opened my shop with like gang shit going on and biker shit going on. And it hit a point where I was like, fuck, man, this is more drama than music was. Like, I thought music was a bunch of dramatic bitches. But I'm like, fuck, dude, tattooing is out of control. Like with clicks and everything. And it hit this point where I'm like, man, I got the flu. I never had the flu in my life. I got the flu one time. I was supposed to work in Los Angeles and I just got the flu. I had to cancel it. And I was so fucking sick that I just did nothing for like a month. It was like the weirdest thing, which I've never do. I'm like very like hyperactive. I had to just do shit. And from sitting there doing nothing, I just had this weird epiphany where I'm like, what am I doing? I don't want a fucking tattoo. I want to be a musician. You know, and I was like, fuck this, fuck my wife. You know, I had fucking 2 kids at the time. I had a fucking business. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And then I tried starting the band again, and we like recorded a few random songs. I had all different people coming in and out of it. And then actually the album cover for it, it's the one with like, there's just a bunch of neon colored bats on it. Whatever that is, that actually, so my friend Pete used to play guitar in Public Serpents with me, and he actually made that album cover. Which is funny because I told him he does more digital stuff. I was like, bro, make me like some sick digital kind of art, you know? And he designed that, and he was like, bro, I love the new Canon Law shit. And then I did this. I actually had a dude who was like kind of just finished apprenticing, and he was working at my shop, and I was like, you know what? You fucking tattoo people, I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna be in the back end drunk and like playing music, just fucking on. We're just like me and my friend just recording the back of our fucking shop, just being assholes. And I was like, and you can make money, and I'll tattoo sometimes, you know. And then it got to a point where this dude was kind of like stealing money and fucking up a lot of shit and doing really bad fucking tattoos. And I had another kind of awakening again where I was like, what am I doing? I'm not a good musician. I'm a good artist. And then I was like, fuck, I have a business and kids. What am I doing with myself? And I fucking fired this dude because I'm like, oh, he's stealing money. He's not even fucking good. You know, he's ruining my reputation. And I went like double hard on taking tattooing seriously. And then I don't know, it was like within like 6 fucking months, my shit just like skyrocketed to where I was like, I just never looked back, and I just fucking forgot about everything. Like I was just like, holy shit. I'm like, people know me as an artist. I gotta take this seriously. And then I was getting clients who were flying in from other countries. And I remember around then is when I was like, delete, erase all my old music shit off the internet. You know, I was like, I need to be taken seriously as an artist and not, you know, I don't want people to find my old shitty punk music. You know? So yeah, then I just kind of, I left the Facebook page hanging. I was like, I tried starting it over, and then but 2014.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a second here.
Yeah,
I want to because this is fun. Bring you over to here. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I was saying.
It says, so we're recording music that will be on iTunes soon.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I did record some things, but then I never released anything. Well, I don't think I had the files.
There are 3 tracks up on the SoundCloud from this era.
Yup, okay. Yeah, I recorded a few things, and that was my, you know, I'm trying to do something little less like, you know, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little older. I shouldn't be like screaming and going crazy. So I didn't, you know, and I really like making electronic music. So yeah, I recorded some shit, and then just gave up on it.
Yeah.
I just got so busy working, I just kind of forgot.
This dude crashed his car in excitement 11 years ago when you announced this.
Dude, we used to have so many hilarious just like reviews, especially on like MySpace, of shit people would comment on. It's just ridiculous.
Then 10 years ago, this guy's like, well,
yeah, he's like, what's going on? Still waiting.
6 years ago, this guy's still waiting. Did it ever happen? Jamming some Canon Law, and fuck, this shit so good.
Right? Yeah, Spotify. You know what's funny? I thought about putting the tracks on Spotify. Just like, fuck it, throw it up there.
Right. You should, or I suggest just the YouTube, because I don't use Spotify.
Yeah. Well, you know what's cool? I have I've been using like DistroKid for like the Spanish Castle stuff, and they'll put it on YouTube too. If you just send them all the tracks, they just throw it on.
And
Yeah, which is
that's
cool.
where I listen to it all.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I do it too. Honestly, I like YouTube for a lot of shit. That's what I'm saying. I've been for years. People hit me up like, "Hey, let's do a podcast and interview about," and I'm like, I don't fucking feel like it. But then, my wife had a point. She was like, "Yo, anything you're into, you look it up on YouTube. Like anything, any like athlete, musician, artist. You're just like, oh, what are they? What are they? So I was like, yeah, I should probably do that kind of shit. YouTube's awesome. Like I don't watch TV. I've kind of actually never had a TV until I got a little older as an adult. But I don't like it. I don't like movies. I don't like TV shows. I have like zero interest in entertainment besides music, but YouTube I like because it's like, oh, it's how-to videos, it's interviews. I found like interviews and documentaries interesting, science shit. Like, I don't know. I don't find anything interesting about like a sitcom, so I just never had a TV. But now I'm like, yeah, YouTube's good though. I like YouTube.
Word. Yeah, you should put, because there is Fuck New Jersey is up as a playlist on YouTube, and
oh, sick.
And part of you got a couple tracks of Canon Law up there, but not very many, right?
Yeah, that shit was very obscure, and it was so short lived. But it was crazy. It was short lived, but it did better than the shakeup. Even with the shakeup's relentless touring, like we did one tour and we're like, oh, we blew up and then quit, and then that was it, and then erased everything years later.
Oh, and everyone who I've talked to about it is fucking loves Canon Law. Like,
oh, sick. That's good. I was
my friend P is obsessed, and he's like, you have to pursue this interview. He's like,
oh, that's awesome.
He's like,
well, I'm glad, that's fun.
We have to find out what happened. Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of fighting. A lot of it's pretty wild. I'm like glad people still like it, because with the amount of like fighting we had back then, and like even just drama with other bands, fucking promoters, like we were like just a bunch of assholes. I always assumed everybody hated us, so I was like, man, I shouldn't have had my name attached to this, to be honest. I was like, people are gonna be like, that fucking dick.
No, it's so good. And then, like P
awesome.
said, it's one of the most unique things that he's come across. Like, nothing sounded like that.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. So that's actually been a common issue with a lot of things I do, like whether art, music, etc. I'm not formally trained, right? Like, I don't know sheet music. I can't read fucking sheet music. I don't know music theory. I don't even know. What's weird is like my friend, he went to school for this shit. His band was on the radio for a while, and he's like, he used to jam with me, and he was like, dude, this is fucking weird. He goes, you don't know this scale that I'm playing, but you know to play it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll hit shit. I'm like, all these notes in a row, and I'm like, that sounds fucking stupid. That doesn't make sense. And I'll hit the next note. And he goes, yeah, that's exactly the whatever scale. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but sure. Like, but only recently when I've been trying to do the Spanish stuff, I've been actually trying to attempt to learn some of it. But like, I immediately started learning it, and then I just was like, fuck this. I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing. And then it becomes my own thing again, which the thing that sucks with it is it happens with like I said, art and music. Everyone, they'll look at the things I'm doing and compare it to the closest relatable thing they can come up with, and they go, oh, he's doing that wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to do that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like doing whatever is in my fucking brain, So it's the same with like my tattoos. Everyone thinks that I'm trying to do like, geometric like mandala tattoos, but I'm just drawing them wrong. They're like, oh, he's trying to do that Buddha stuff, but he's an idiot. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm doing. That's why it looks weird to you. It's the same shit like say with the music, Canon Law. I'm like, people used to ask me, what's your band sound like? I'm like, I don't know, man. And I'd always be like real apprehensive to tell them about it. They're like, oh, is it good? I heard you guys are like famous. I'm like, not really, and I'd always lead with like, you're probably not going to like it. It's fucking weird. Like, it's like an acquired taste. It's no one really does this. And I've never heard anyone do it afterwards, which I'm glad. I'd be a little bummed if someone else kind of ran with my shit. I'm like, oh man. Cause all I would think in my head was like, damn, I could have done that for real. Like if someone else did well with it, I'd be all bummed about it.
Well, I mean, you hear hints of stuff similar here and there, but just the overall way you combined it all together, it's truly unique.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. It was I don't know, it was just really weird. What's weird too is some of it like a lot of it came from I used to fuck around with like old Casio keyboards. I just thought they were cool. I like fucking around. I hit like the one drum beat on them, and I'm not like I was back then too. I was never like an amazing musician. I played kind of rudimentary stuff, but what just shit that just came to my head would just be like just playing weird shit on a keyboard. And then there's a point where I'm like, man, this would be fucking like, I should just scream over this. It'd be fucking cool as shit. And then actually our keyboardist, the whole sound of Canon Law was like that heavy, like, grrr, like, fuck, I don't even know what that sound is. She fucking did that by accident. Like we were jamming, and literally she was playing like one of the things I play, which is just like do 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 do. I was like, yeah, like while we're like trying to like, kind of warm up. And it was something I just did for fun, but I was like, I don't know if we should actually make a song out of that because it doesn't really sound that punk. People probably won't be into it, but she's doing it. And while she's doing it, she's like fucking with all the tones on the, on the keyboard. You can like adjust the settings and shit. She's just like fucking with shit. And all of a sudden you hear, and I was like, what the whole fucking, we're in like a recording studio. All of us turned around and we're like, we're doing that. That's fucking it. And I was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, save that setting right now. And then we saved it. And then immediately I like fucking threw out, because originally when we were trying to do Canon Law, we were like, oh, we'll just use the shake up songs and just call it a new band and just like, fuck it, And then, because we're like, we got a bad reputation with a lot of people. I don't know. It's just like, we fight everybody. Let's just not do this. So when we started it, we were originally practicing the shake up songs. We just kind of added some new shit to it. And then when she was doing that with the keyboard, I was like, oh yeah, fuck this. We threw out every fucking song and we're like, yeah, it's a new band. Fucking 100%, And then that's when we went with the really, organy, weird fucking, and I was kind of pumped. And that kicked off good because I remember one of the first actual shows we did, like not off a tour, we did a show just like some dude's house, and this is actually where we met Public Serpents. We did a show with them at a house, and it was just all punk bands, hardcore bands, ska bands. And then we started off, I don't know if you heard it, but there's one song on there, it's called Peak Oil.
Oh yeah.
That was like the song we're like, we'll just leave with this, bro. And just the keyboard line live, it like fucking, you could feel it like in your chest. You're like, like everything radiated because that shit was fucking loud. There was so much fucking bass in it. And like the whole point of the band, I remember recording at one place and we left the studio because he didn't understand that the keyboard is the main instrument. He kept trying to make the guitars loud as shit. And I was like, no. I don't even want guitars in it, but I feel like it should, to fill it up more. And so it's like the keyboard user, and like the entire place was like, what the fuck? And then it like was like a riot, like everyone just beating the shit out of each other. And my friend was like, the one dude in the bench just pointing at me like, bro, yeah, this is it, we're doing it right. And I was like, yeah. And we're like, okay, this is what we're playing from now on. Everyone loved this shit. Like I've never seen people react that way to our shit before. Like unless they already knew it, but like live they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. But that I just watched everyone just like we had to kill each other. And I was like, all right, we're doing it right now.
Yeah, great stuff.
Thank you, man.
I can see why I would get that reaction.
Thanks. Yeah, it was crazy.
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about the Public Serpent stint or not.
Yeah. So we talk a little bit about it. So what happened with that was we were in when we did the Canon Law show, it was just like someone just invited us, like it was like a last minute thing to like a house show. Like we didn't even tell people. Someone was like, hey man, this dude's doing a house show and blah blah, and that Public Serpents band. I was like, oh, that's sick. Yeah, we should fucking do that, because I was like, I was already in with like a lot of those bands from all my previous shit. But when we did Canon Law, we were trying to do something different. I was like, dude, we should just team up with like hardcore bands and shit. Like, I was like, I don't know, the punk scene, we got in too many fights with too many people. But and I remember thinking, I was like, man, I don't know if like dudes into like Choking Victim would like this. It's not really like remotely similar, you know, but I was like, I guess it could be, you know. I guess like, you know, it's got black metal style vocals, so I'm like, that kind of fits. It's dark, it's heavy, like it just, you know, doesn't have a lot of ska parts, you know. But so we got invited last minute. We showed up to the show, whatever, and then actually our keyboardist, who, you know, was my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, the guitarist Adam from I think he was in Morning Glory and Six Gun Radio possibly at the time, but Adam was talking to her and he was like, yo, we want to add, because they want to start adding organs, you know. And he's like, yo, we need a keyboard. So he hit her up to be in the band. And you know, she was like, I think he's like hitting on me. Like, I think he just wants me in the band. And I was like, I mean, yeah, if he wants you in a band, like yeah, I mean, let him know that you're clearly like not single though. You know, it's like, so what happened was, so he hit her up originally. Squirt was like, yeah, have her play keyboard. And then they ended up telling her never mind, because Squirt's wife was like, no fucking way. Like, you know, I'm not going to have you drive around a country with some fucking young teenager fucking chick, you know, or, you know, I think we were like 21, maybe, you know, something like that. He's like, fuck you, dude. Like, no way. So he was like, yeah, I don't know if my wife would be cool with that. So they ended up, you know, kind of ditching out on the idea. But then, yeah, I don't remember how eventually I got hit up for it. You know, because I remember they were talking to me, talking to her, talking to her band, and then somehow someone was missing, and I think maybe I was supposed to play keyboard after that. Like, I offered, I was like, well, I'll do it, you know, if you don't want a girl in it, you know. And then they ended up finding out when I went there to practice, my friend Alex came along. He was a really good musician. I don't know what he's up to nowadays, but he played keyboard way better than me. Like, he knew classical piano. So then he went on and Alex was playing fucking keyboard and they were like, yo, this is fire. And I was like, oh, dude, I play guitar, you know? And they were like, yeah, fuck it. The one dude, you know, everyone was fighting back and forth. I think Adam just quit at the time. And then the dude Pete came on and I played guitar. And then, yeah, just started I just ended up in it, you know? And then, yeah, we did like a bunch of shows. I did like some shows at C Squad, a couple other places. And then, yeah, we were supposed to go on a tour. So they had a tour set up. I ended up quitting at the time, actually. So I was like, yeah, just not doing this, whatever. I quit. And I remember, oh, you know what? When I quit, now I remember, actually, it was when I had my first kid. Well, I didn't have him yet. My wife was pregnant. Well, she's just my girlfriend at the time. And I remember, like, I was like, dude, I don't know, man. I gotta like take my fucking tattooing more seriously, because I was like, tattooing was like on the back burner. I was like, I'm fucking being a musician. And I remember thinking, I was telling them, I was like, dude, we're gonna have a kid. I had to like be a little more serious. I can't be like goofing around like this. I gotta like get a real job. Because at the time I was like, bro, I was just tattooing. I didn't make any fucking money. Tattooing was not a lucrative career until very recently. You know what I mean? Like, it became a thing, but like back then it was, you know, it was still at the tail end of it being like a really rough and tumble industry that was like just for assholes. You know what I mean? Like, it was no one in my family thought it was cool that I was a tattoo artist. They were like, oh my God, bro, what are you doing with your life? You know? So in my head, I'm like, bro, I'm tattooing. I barely make money doing that. I'm playing fucking music. I'm losing my tattoo money to play music, you know? So I was like, this is this is bad. So I quit. But then they hit me up. Squirt was like, hey, they had this dude Dave fill in on guitar, and he was like, bro, he just he's gone. Like, we're going on tour like 2 days, and there's fucking, you're the only person who knows these songs. You know, he's like, I don't know where the fuck he is, but he just disappeared. And I think he went on like a heroin binge and just, that was it. I couldn't find him, you know? So I'm like, fuck, yeah, sure, fuck it. You know, he's like, I'll pay you to come out, whatever. So I was in my head, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do one last tour, one last whatever before I have a kid and take my life seriously, you know? And I go up to his house. We're like, everyone's, you know, practicing. All right, we're cool, rehearse. We start loading up the van. And then this dude just like, he like crawled out of the woods. He just like shows up. He's, hey guys, I'm ready for tour. And they were like, what is he doing here? I fucking thought you were gone. And like, we just told him. So they were like, they felt bad. It's like, for Squirt's like, I mean, just come on tour anyway. Fuck, I'll still pay you. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, just do like merch and shit. So we went on tour, and I do random like guest vocals. You know, like during certain songs, I would just go run around screaming and shit. I played guitar a few of the sets, just doing shit. And then I remember I broke half the strings on it. So I played pretty fucking rough. You know, and I was just like midway through, I'm like, fuck. And now I'm having to like go down. It was at that Skatopia place, which that shit was fucking holy shit. that was a ridiculous night. But yeah, we did a Skatopia show, and I remember I broke the strings on the guitar, and I had to like immediately though, like is back to that, like I don't know music, but I just understand it. So like I immediately I'm like, oh shit, I'm missing like the fucking, the two bottom strings. I'm like, fuck. And I immediately I'm like, and I like, I go just on the next strings up, and I'm playing the same shit. I'm like playing these ska riffs on like, the heavier strings, but like way further down the fretboard. I'm like, all right, that's it. That's the same fucking notes, but it's octaves down, And I like figured out. I remember the one dude was like, shit, you could do that. I'm like, I don't know. I just like it just made sense. Like I'm like listening till it lined up, and I'm like, all right, I'll just play the same thing but over here. But yeah, that was but yeah, then we ended up just after that tour, I was like, yeah, I don't know, we'll talk about it, blah blah. But then yeah, we had a little falling out because me and Pete at one point I was like, yo, let's start a new band anyway, and we kind of like bad mouthed the band because there was some lady did some zine interview, was like talking shit about the songs, and she said something about the rap songs were shit and all this stuff. And I remember at one point I remember suggesting a score. I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I like these songs. They kind of remind me of Sean Paul, and I think Sean Paul's sick, so but I was like, bro, the problem is I just don't think the fan base vibes with it. And I was like, to be honest, if you're using like the whole choke victim aesthetic, I was like, bro, we should just straight fucking be a knockoff. Like just write the same exact sound and shit. I was like, we should make it sound identical to choke victim because that shit was fire. People are gonna love it. You know what I mean? And we got a lot of arguments about that. But when the lady was saying that, oh, your rap songs suck, I was straight up like, yeah, they do. That was Score's idea. He's not listening to us, And I was like, anyway, check out me and Pete. We got a new band. I shouldn't have said, but I was I don't know, I was a dipshit, It's things that you look back on. I'm like, man, why was I like that? Like it's a rude thing to do. But she ended up, I feel bad. He's a nice guy. I like him. So he was pissed. He called me up and he's like, yo, what's up with that fucking whack ass, whatever you said about my rap songs suck, and check out my new band with Pete. And I'm like, oh yeah, shit. You saw that? Like, so then, yeah, we got a big kind of falling out over that, but I'm like, whatever, like shit happens. Especially like I started looking back, I'm like, yeah, we're just dumb. We're just too young to be doing the shit we were doing. I think we're not mature enough,
Word. Then your fucking tattooing did take off. Like,
yeah, that was weird. What's crazy with that is that I kind of didn't think it would, like, after with the amount of times I failed at music that were like, I don't know, we had fan bases and shit, but like nothing, it just wasn't working. And it was, what I realized is half the reason music never worked was I was relying on a band. I'm like, oh, I gotta rely on like fucking 10 people getting together and like doing the same thing and like agreeing, you know what I mean? Whereas when it came to the tattooing, it hit me just why I opened my own place, because when I was working at, I was working like a biker shop, and I was like, man, this vibe is not hitting. It's not working for what I want to do. I want to do something with this. And it hit me when I opened my own place. I was like, I'm going to open a private place just for me. I don't want anyone working with me. I'm just going to do my thing my way. And it hit me. I was like, oh my God, I don't have to rely on anybody. I'm like, it's just me. If I show up, that's all I need, And I just take it very seriously. And what's funny is, wasn't a thing that like when I got into tattooing, I didn't even think I was going to make money. Like I knew I wasn't. In my head, I was like, I didn't go to college. I'm kind of a fuck up. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And I wasted my entire, important years where I should have been like cultivating skills, just touring the country. And I was like, fuck, like, man, I'm like kind of out of options now. And it hit me. I was like, dude, I'm going to either make minimum wage working at like fucking McDonald's, or at worst case scenario, I'm like, I love drawing. I love art. And I realized my favorite thing about music wasn't even writing the songs. It was actually getting to design the albums, designing tour posters, t-shirts. I like making logos. I thought that was the most fun part of it. Like, cool, I get to draw new. I love aesthetics, I like just like the esoteric imagery of shit. I was like, this is fuck. I love this. I just love images. So it hit me one day that I was like, dude, I take tattooing way more seriously. Like with music, I didn't actually care if I was good at music, but with art, I cared that it looked good. I was like, I want my peers to look at it and go, oh, he's a fucking good artist. I don't want to be embarrassed. With music, I was like, fuck yeah, punch the keyboard. This is sick. Like I didn't care to be technical. So I cared a little bit, but not as much as art. And then what I realized, like, when I didn't get into it, so I knew I wasn't gonna make money. I was like, I want to do this because I'm gonna be poor no matter what I do, and I'd rather be poor doing something I love. And then it just kind of slowly caught on, and I didn't even go into it with any intent on like having a style. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna do like black flag bars on people. Like that's kind of what I thought was gonna be happening, And then I just started just drawing shit, and just from like researching things that people wanted, I started getting more. You're just reading like ancient fucking books about symbolism, and I love that shit. I was like, look at this cool fucking medieval painting with this weird drawing, and I just started like got heavily into it and just evolved into a style by accident. And and I remember I even had one friend, he's a pretty well-known artist, and he was asking me, he goes, oh, what is this style? Like, what is it called? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, what do you do? What is your tattooing? He goes, what are your references? And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, I don't have references. I just kind of I don't know. I just draw random shit, And they were like so confused. And then I realized I had a guy talking to me about, so he tattoos like a lot of rappers, and he was like, bro, it's crazy because he was telling me how he's like, dude, you like are doing so good. He's like, I'm not as booked as you, like, whatever. And I was telling him, I'm like, man, like, I don't know why, because you're like interviewed on all these things, you tattoo all these rappers. I was like, no, you should be able to like charge well and have a lot of clients. And he was like, and he told me something that hit that I never thought about. He goes, no, dude, your tattoos. He goes, when I see them, I know you did them. You know what I mean? He goes, you have a look, a style, because that's like actual art. He goes, I'm not doing art, bro. But as he told me, he goes, I'm doing portraits. He was like, I'm just like, color by numbers is what I'm doing. He goes, I'm just following something and it is what it is. He goes, I'm not drawing the portrait of someone, I'm tracing it. And he goes, you're just inventing something. And I was like, huh. And like that is the thing that's like, it took my, dude, it just like, it was like, it took basically 10 years to become an overnight success, because it just like fucking happened out of nowhere. But it was also like 10 years of relentlessly just fucking drawing, tattooing, painting, drawing, like every second of the day, So even recently I actually slowed down a lot, like on purpose, because it like kind of hit me one day. I was like looking at my kid, my wife was telling me, she's like, oh yeah, can you believe he's going into high school? And it hit me, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like he's in high school, I just spent his whole life drawing pictures. Like I was like, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, I was like still focused on my fucking career. I'm like, what am I doing? So I like just recently, like, a couple of years ago, started scaling back a lot and tattooing way less, working less. And I'm like, all right, because in my head, I'm always just thinking I'm not at the next level. I'm not at the next place. Like I'm never like realizing in the moment that I'm doing anything important or that I've made anything of myself. In my head, I'm like, okay, I'm still nobody. I'm still nothing. This guy's way ahead of me. I had to get better. I need more clients. Essentially with music, I never was like living the moment, like, oh shit, people like us, like I was just like, fuck, we're nothing, bro. Like, so, yeah, but the tattooing thing, that was, totally unexpected. I remember even saying it one time to my friend, we were like talking about it when I was working in San Francisco. And he was like, bro, I don't think we were supposed to be here. He's like, we're like not these people, because I think we were like supposed to be like homeless or something. But he's like, I don't know how this happened, but we're here. And I was like, yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of always assumed, I was like, yeah, I'm going to like probably be poor, just like live in like a trailer with like most of my friends, we'll like play music and stuff. And that's cool. Like, I didn't really care, like, but yeah, then all this happened and I'm like grateful for it. I'm like, oh man, that could have went different.
So now you got 4 shops open. It said you can book appointment in one of your 4 locations. How did it get so big?
Yeah, so that, you know what's funny? I tell tattoo artists about this and they do not believe me because they want, like, everyone wants just like a I don't know, like a just like a one trick shot to the top. And when I tell them what I did, they're like, "Oh, that's a lot of work." Bullshit. They just don't want to do that, you know. But it was like, dude, it was just like years of relentlessly, like, I kept doing. It started with just doing conventions, so I'm like doing tattoo conventions. At the convention, I start meeting like way bigger artists, and they're going, "Wow, this is incredible. Come work at my studio for a week." And then you go to their studio, and they post you, you know, they promote you to tell people, hey, this guy's coming here. You cross promote, you know, I'll tell my clients, they tell their clients. And now more people know about me. I go work at their shop and it's a reputable shop. It's the, you know, best in the world. So people are, oh shit, if he vouches for you, you must be good. They follow me, you know, then I go do another convention and convention promotes you. I meet more artists, go to their shop. And then eventually I'm just like, I remember looking at my Uber receipts one time. Because I thought my accountant was slick. I was like, oh man, this is so good. He's writing off so much shit. What a bullshitter. I love this. Until I looked at all my receipts, I'm like, oh my God, bro, I spend actually a lot of money on my business. Holy shit. And my Uber receipts, it was like every 2 fucking weeks. It was like you would see like the receipts of like, I got the Uber from the airport in LA to the hotel, and it was like hotel shop, hotel shop, hotel shop for like 2 weeks. And then it'd be like Uber to the airport. And then the next day, you see the receipts going from a house in San Francisco to the shop in San Francisco, back and forth for 2 weeks. Then I'd be home for a week, then back out for 2 weeks. You know, it's kind of like doing like a, you know, what you do in a band going on a tour, but with tattooing. And it was honestly from, you know, taking up opportunities. Whenever an artist hit me up, I'd say, yes, yeah, sure. Like I remember this shop in Berlin hit me up when I was working in Italy, and my friend kind of ignored them. He was like, "What? Like, I don't even know who these guys are." I just said yes. I was like, "Fuck it, I'll go to Berlin." You know, I had no clue who the shop was. Turns out the owner of the shop, they were like the most famous shop in all of Germany. You know, they tattooed everyone from the Olympics the one year, and that was just like, oh shit, I didn't know you guys knew who I was. That's great. You know, so I worked there, you know, and then eventually from doing enough of that, you get you know, magazines like, hey, let's do an interview, let's do this. And then it just kept going everywhere. And I was like, shit. And I started noticing a lot of clients flying in. And then I got to a point where I noticed some clients are like, I don't know about flying out there. I wish you were here. But do you know an artist in my area who tattoos like you? And that got me thinking. I was like, "What? No, this is my work. I don't want you to get someone else do my work." So I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm going to start working in that city all the time now," you know, just to like make sure. Because I'm like, no, I want to do my tattoos. I don't want someone else do my tattoos. You know, these are my ideas. You know, so yeah, I just started going, and originally the plan was like I wanted to move. You know, and I'm trying to think of like, well, you can't just up and move. You have to like kind of build a client base and a reputation somewhere. So I just started like, well, you know, I'll open a shop with this guy here, or I'll go work with my friend at his shop here, you know, and just try to like get locations. And one of the big ones was Amsterdam. That was like, we were like dead set on moving there. I started learning Dutch. Like I was about it, but then they ended up changing their like immigration, and it's a lot harder now than it was. And it was just like overnight. Like it went from like you only need to be there for like 2 years or something, and you only need to be there for like 3 months a year out of 2 years. You know, you didn't have to learn the language. I was like, bro, this is great. You know, but now it's like way more strict, and I think it's like they're trying to make it like you got to be there for 10 years to get citizenship. And I'm like, oh, that's a disaster. You know, I'm like, that's way too long. Because originally I'm thinking like, oh, if I go there, then my kids can get free college if I get in soon enough. But now I'm like not going to be a citizen. He'll be out. He'll be like an adult. You know, so I'm like, ah, never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm still trying to, because I'm still at the shop in Jersey, and I've been trying to sell it, but the problem is I don't want to give it up. So no one wants to pay what it's actually worth for the amount of money I put into it and built it up and whatever. But at the same time, if I just get rid of the shop, just someone I don't like, I know is just going to park their shit in my shop and just open up a new shop in my location. And that is going to piss me off more than anything. So I'm like barely even tattooing out of it now. I just tattoo everywhere else. But I would rather pay the rent on it than to let someone else have it. I'm like, no way, dude. I spent like my whole life in that place. You guys are not just taking it over. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna use it as like an art studio, and like I tattoo there sometimes, but I'm mostly just everywhere else.
Word. So flamenco guitar, how did this come about?
So this is actually the most bizarre shit. So it originally came out. The reason I started doing it was well, first I'm super into medieval kind of whatever stuff, and I came across this dude Andrei Krylov who plays medieval lute. He's like 70 years old or something, and it's fucking great, dude. It's just no singing, no nothing, just medieval lute. It's like the coolest shit I've ever heard. And I remember being like, dude, I love this music. It's fucking great. But then Instagram started doing a thing, right, where they were like, oh, you put people's songs to your videos and your pictures. And what happened was he decided to delete his whole fucking catalog of shit off of the internet and be like, nah, you gotta like, buy the CD or whatever instead. He took it off like, all the social media sites. So I couldn't use his songs, and I tried a few times, and I'll get like a copyright ban, and they'd take my song out. And I'm like, man, this song, I feel like it just vibes with my music, I mean, with my art. So then I was kind of bummed on that, but like, from listening to that, I think I ended up getting on a bunch of random Mediterranean stuff was like popping on Spotify because they're like, I don't know, it's kind of like fast guitar stuff. And I thought that shit was cool. It was originally a bunch of Greek music. It was just like Greek instrumental music. And I got heavy into it for like a whole year. That's all I listened to. And I used to do Muay Thai, and I would like go to my Muay Thai class, like bumping like the nicest sounding Mediterranean Greek song, just like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go fight, because I don't know, it just kind of hyped me up, even though it was like not angry. It's like kind of hypes you up more than angry music, And I was like pretty pumped on it. I thought it sounded cool, and I still didn't think about playing it, but it hit a point where I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to start playing. I was like, I gotta figure out how to get these songs on my videos for Instagram, and I was into all this weird music now, and I decided, I was like, you know what am I doing? I know how to play fucking guitar. I'll just play these songs, my own songs, and write them. So I was originally going to write them just for my reels, just for like a 3-second clip for a tattoo video, just like, some cool. And I was originally going to do lute. I was like, I'm just going to buy a lute and figure out how to play it. But then, when I was researching it, I remember like seeing all the flamenco stuff, and I was like, man, I really like the Mediterranean music. And I was like, fuck it, let's go and buy a fucking classical guitar, because you can do like kind of medieval sounding shit on it, but you can also do flamenco, which is what I wanted to do, just for fun. I was like, I'm gonna record, medieval stuff for my videos, and then play flamenco just for the hell of it, because it's cool to learn. And also for a little bit, I was kind of angry all the time and just pissed off at life, and I was like, man, I gotta like just be calm and listen to like chill, nice music. So I'm like, this will be nice to just get back into that. And when I started learning, and it hit a point where I was like, man, I can't just record this on my phone. I need to like get a good microphone. I found actually it's like an old mic that I used to record with. So I'm like, this is a good microphone. I'll record with that. But then I recorded, I tried just like plugging it through some old mixing board I had. It kind of sounded like shit. Then I was like, well, I might as well get like a better condenser microphone. And now I'm like researching there's this guy, Paco de Lucia. He's like the most infamous, flamenco guitarist of all time. I'm like, what did he use to record? Then all of a sudden I just started building out a whole fucking recording studio in my basement, only for the purpose of recording 3-second clips on my fucking art videos. And that was the whole purpose of it. And then immediately I started doing that, and I was like, man, I was like, what sucks about a lot of flamenco music? There's these weird parts where it would just stop and be silent for like 10 minutes. It gets like kind of real boring, and then they do it a lot of classical music, and then it builds up again and gets loud. And I was like, man, I kind of hate songs like that. I wish they were just consistent, just like a flow through the whole thing, which is kind of more of like a lot of the Mediterranean, like Greek music's a little more like that. But I didn't really want so much drums in it, And then I was like, I'm just gonna record my own songs because I don't like these other songs. And then I just started recording shit. And then I was like, I might as well just make a whole fucking album. I just like, and then what's funny is I recorded one song and released it. Then I recorded a whole album, and I fucking hated it, actually. So I recorded a whole album, and it took me like 6 months because I was just kind of fucking around. And then I looked at it and I was like, I'm gonna nuke this whole thing. This actually sounds like shit. I don't like any of it. I fucking hated it. And then because I started getting better and I was like, man, I have like a better vision now. I think I know what I want these songs to sound like. And my wife was like, well, you fucking recorded it. You wasted all that money and time. Why don't you just put it on there? She goes, fuck, you just put it on Spotify. It doesn't matter. She's like, it's not gonna cost you anything now. It's already, you already did everything else. And I was like, yeah, I guess. And and I released it, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. But I have I've recorded now 5 new songs for a whole new album that's I actually am like proud of, like, because the one I have on Spotify now, I keep telling people, I'm like, well, I like make excuses. I'm like, well, it's cool, but it's a little different. It's not what you probably think it's gonna be. So I realized I'm like, all right, the new stuff though.
If you like Canon Law, you'll love
it. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Because it is. I realized because my wife even said, she goes, this reminds me of Canon Law. She goes, I can like hear the fucking. She goes, I hear you. She goes, I know you and how you do things. And she goes, it sounds like you. I can't explain it, but she goes, it just feels like when you were playing music back in the day, And I was like, yeah. That's maybe not good. I was like, I don't know, like how some classical flamenco fans are going to be like vibing with it. And then I noticed the songs that actually had the most like, plays, they order it on Spotify based on how many people are listening to it. And the ones that had the one that has the most is because it was just the first one I released. So it was out the longest, but the next 2 or 3 in a row, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. They're the songs that are more structured and not so spazzed out and like sporadic and weird. They just sound like a normal song. And I was like, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. So now, but I have like 5 new songs now that I actually like. I'm actually proud of them. I listen to it and I'm like, I'll drive around my car listening to it. I'm like, no, these are cool. But I just had to actually like, finalize a few things and then release it. But they're way better. And now I have like a few things. I'm like doing some like collabs with a few, different musicians to kind of, make some new shit out of it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It would be cool to actually, my only goal with it, honestly, I was like, I just want to put it in like a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, just be like, I don't know, like a new Desperado fucking soundtrack, I'll be like Antonio Banderas.